I'm Siobhan Heaney. Welcome to the Culture Quarter. Coming up, we explore the art of Australia's other Indigenous people.
People know the seasons, they read the landscape, they read the oceans, they read the winds, and they read the movements of the animals in the ocean as well. And this is reflected in such a visually rich way by artists from the Torres Straits.
But first, the internet has revolutionised the way that galleries and museums can share their collections with the public. Wikipedia, the popular online encyclopedia that's compiled completely by volunteers, says it's the perfect portal for cultural institutions to show off their prized pieces. Liam Wyatt is an Australian Wikipedian who's determined to build bridges between the old and the new, and he recently became the British Museum's first ever Wikipedian in residence. He explains his global quest for cultural collaboration.
Wikipedia is often perceived as a threat in the sense that the internet was perceived as a threat 10 years ago or so to the physical space. Wikipedia is perceived as a threat, traditionally at least, on the basis that we're providing access to information, and so are the libraries or so are the museums. And so the suggestion with the internet 10 years ago was if people visit our website, then they won't come and visit us in the real space, meet space. But what's actually proved to be the case is the more visibility you have online, the more your collection is integrated into the rest of cultural awareness, and more people want to come and visit the actual museum or library. The fact that, say, the Mona Lisa is ubiquitous online and on tea towels or everything else doesn't stop people actually wanting to go to visit the Louvre. It in fact encourages it.
So why does Wikimedia present a bit of a challenge to cultural institutions?
The issues come down to matters of expertise, of control, whereas Wikipedia is entirely volunteer-driven and relies on external sources to verify the quality of our content. Professional cultural institutions write original research and rely on the expertise of their curators or researchers, which is necessary to push forward the boundaries of known knowledge. But Wikipedia is not about trying to write new research. We're about trying to collate and draw together what's known and refer our readers out to where they can get more information. But equally, Wikipedians were afraid of working with cultural institutions, which have traditionally been seen as the ivory tower, preserving behind closed doors the access to cultural content, being too stuffy or being too restrictive. The important part of working of what we call GLAM wiki relations. So GLAM is galleries, libraries, archives, museums. It's our cute acronym for the cultural sector. So the important part of GLAM wiki relations is to show how both can obtain advantage from working with the other.
As institutions move online, digitise all their records and archives, it's going to become inevitable that those two worlds either collide or collaborate, I suppose, isn't it?
No one is saying that you should digitise art and then you won't have to look at the actual object. That's clearly wrong, and there will always be a case for the traditional scholarship, for the physical preservation of objects. But once it's been digitised and you've differentiated between the form and the content, then you can use culture in a new way, and integrate it into a new generation of culture. Culture builds on culture. We've always taken the old stories and written new stories, and taken oral histories and written new oral histories. That's how society develops culture. But in the last 100 years or so, we've developed systems of command and control that say, this is my intellectual property and you can't touch it. When it's taken to the point of, I have built upon everything that's gone before me and made my new art or my new book or my new work, but no one can now take it and move on, that's locking up cultural heritage in a way that's frankly not fair and fair to the future.
together in electric dreams.
So you were a Wikipedian in residence at the British Museum. What did that job actually entail?
We ran what we call the backstage pass. So British Museum brought a whole bunch of curators out and a whole bunch of objects that are not normally on display. And we brought a whole bunch of Wikipedians along in the area, and some flew in from overseas. The mere fact of being invited, the British Museum is inviting us to look at their content and work with their experts was very enticing. And then we spent a day looking around behind the scenes of the collection, and then the other half of the day doing the reverse. We showed the curators what we do and how we the rigorous checks we do on the quality of the content and sourcing and so forth. And from that built a whole variety of relationships, of awareness of professional practice in both directions. And then we ran things like the feature article challenge. The feature article is the highest quality content on Wikipedia, and only feature articles get on the front page, which is viewed 5 million times a day. So it's the 5th most visited web page in the world, effectively, after Google and YouTube. Here's this non-commercial, purely educative concept. So if you're a curator that happens to have just written the book about this really obscure thing, having your object featured on the front page, or your subject area featured on the front page of Wikipedia for a day, is the best advertising you can get.
The art of the Torres Strait Islands is having a moment in the sun, so to speak. With a festival at the South Brisbane Arts Precinct earlier in the year and a new gallery to house the Torres Strait Island collection at the National Gallery of Australia, the beauty of this island culture is being celebrated.
There is this huge ocean, and in that ocean there's many islands, and those islands are spread from the very top of Australia, from the tip of Cape York, and it goes right up into Papua New Guinea. And so there is this rich life, a sea life, a rich tropical environment, and of course there is this amazing sky world as well.
The life, landscape and culture of the Torres Strait Islands inspire striking art, as they have for centuries. Today, the islands are also the source of some of the most exciting contemporary art in Australia. The headdresses are of course easily recognised. Instruments of ancient ceremony, they're still being referenced in modern Torres Strait Islander art. Made of natural materials like turtle shell and feathers, they speak of the sky world and the ocean that nourish life on the islands.
People know the seasons, they read the landscape, they read the oceans, they read the winds, and they read the movements of the animals in the ocean as well. And this is reflected in such a visually rich way by artists from the Torres Strait.
Art from the Torres Strait is completely different to the art of mainland Aboriginal Australia. It's stylistically distinct and shows the influence of Pacific and Asian art, transferred through centuries of cultural exchange.
These are seafaring people, and therefore movement has occurred across islands and across continents. And so because of that exchange, we see that reflected in the artwork. We can also trace it through language, we can trace it through plants and, through cultural practice as well.
The techniques are different too. Skills like wood carving and tattooing show up in modern prints and sculpture. But inspiration can often come from deeper sources too. One artist even experienced potent dreams in which his ancestors appeared to him.
he has several dream visitations from his ancestors, and it was almost as if his ancestors said to him, "This is your responsibility, this is your role, these are the stories that come from your country, these are the stories that come from us, and you need to communicate that through your artwork."
Whether the art form is 2 or 3-dimensional, it's the spiritual dimension that reigns.
I think the reason why the artwork does have this strong masculine feel is because it does relate to ancestors. And in any Indigenous people's depictions of the ancestors, be they female ancestral figures or male ancestral figures, they're always imbued with such power because they are quite dangerous.
The epic tales of the ancestors are ancient, but with dynamic, modern art practices, Torres Strait Islanders are keeping old carving and storytelling traditions alive. Well, that's all for this episode, but we'll leave you with one last look at the stunning art of the Torres Strait Islands, this time a sculpture called Ubiri Kubiri. It takes pride of place in the front foyer at the National Gallery of Australia, and there the powerful crocodile, Ubiri Kubiri, rides off into the dusk. I'm Siobhan Henu. Join me next time for the Culture Quarter.